I'm a singer-songwriter here in Austin, vegetarian, and I am happy to be announcing to my friends who we're going to be talking to you tonight about veganism and tapping. This is Tyffany and Sandra Kimler from Australia. Both Tyffany and Sandra are vegans, international speakers and authors. Tyffany is from Austin and Sandra, I said, is from Australia. So please give them a warm vegan welcome for Tyffany and Sandra. Thank you.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Now, how was that for you? The reason we did this is because that would have brought up a feeling inside of you. Most of us would have had a criticism that we don't speak out, that we feel inside of us. And it's that criticism I want you to acknowledge for a minute. What is it that you felt when we started singing? I mean, I can't sing. I'm a white woman that can't sing, and I've got a black woman that definitely can't sing. You know, so what did you feel? Were you uncomfortable? Did you cringe? Did you enjoy it, or were you jealous? Or oh my God, what are
Were you
doing?
uncomfortable that she says, and you have a black woman who couldn't sing? These are things that we need to look at.
Absolutely. And that's what we are going to talk about, because we need to learn how to transition from where we are to where we want to be. And in the vegan world, it's all about kindness. But kindness is about how we think about situations, how we talk to people, about people, and how we act in kindness. So that is what's going to be like. And we do judge. We do judge all the time. Whether we're vegans or not vegan, we judge all the time. And Tyffany actually got a really good example of when she was put in a place where she judged. And it's not based on any truth. It is our belief system. The way we judge things is because we are taught to see differences between us, right? But as vegans, we have to learn to see that everything and everyone is one. We are all the same.
Yes. And on that token, we're here because this is a talk to vegans about veganism, but not only about veganism. Food is consciousness. And we are, as vegans and vegetarians, we are at a certain level of consciousness, because veganism is about compassion. And compassion is spirit. Okay? And Sandra and I talk about spirit, mind, and body. Veganism is spirit because it's compassion. Compassion is love. We have love for the least of the beings on this planet. So that means we have a certain level of consciousness, a higher level of consciousness. Okay? And to stay or to raise your level of consciousness, you have to connect spirit, mind, body. We started off by talking about mind. That's judgment. Okay? Judgment is some preconceived notion about someone or something. But the funny thing is, when we feel that we're judged as vegans, we have to define who we are. We have to justify why we eat the way we eat, why we live the way we live. Judgment comes from ourselves, if you think about it, because we mirror each other, because we are one. When you're feeling judgment from someone because you are vegan, because you're short, because you're a woman, because you're white, because you're black, because you have a certain job, you make a certain amount of money, you live a certain place. When you feel that judgment, it first begins with you. How does it begin with you? Because since we were children, we've learned certain programming and standards and conditioning. And we've been taught to believe that we're not enough, we're not worthy, we're not valuable. So when someone questions, why don't you eat meat? We're Americans, we eat meat. Or we're animals, we're humans, we eat meat. What comes up in us is judgment. We're judging ourselves. We're judging ourselves. We're questioning as to why we are vegan. That person is just mirroring what they're feeling within us. Each person is judging each other. And I know about judgment so well because I recognize judgment in myself. I went to Marigold's on South Lamar to get an outfit for a speaking engagement. And Marigold's, if you've ever been there, is owned by Indians. It's an Indian establishment. My programming, conditioning, is that I believe Indians don't like African Americans. Okay, so driving there, I have all this anxiety. What's going to happen when I get there? Am I going to be treated badly because I'm black? What are they going to do? Are they even going to help me? So I have all this anxiety I've created within myself. I hadn't even reached the place because of myself, because of me believing that I'm not enough, because of all the programming. So I get there and there's this beautiful Indian woman who's about 70 or older, and she smiles and she asked me if she could help me. And I said yes. I told her I needed an outfit, and she asked me what kind, and I told her. So I go to the dressing room and she keeps bringing back outfits. And I'm trying them on. I'm thinking, okay, she's pretty nice. This is okay. This is okay. And at some point in the dressing room, I tell myself, Tiffany, this is you. You're doing this to yourself. Okay? You're doing it. Get in a place of love. I get the outfit that I like, and she asked me, why do you need the outfit? I said, because I'm a speaker and an author. And she asked me, well, what do you write and what do you speak about? And I told her. And we're talking more. And I feel something that has shifted in me. And I have enough courage to ask this lady. I said, you know, I had a lot of anxiety coming here. And she says, why is that? I said, because I've been made to believe that Indians don't like African Americans. And she said, well, how have I treated you? I said, very well, thank you. And she said, I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of Indians do not like African Americans, but I do, because I see everyone as one. And when she said that, I knew that language, okay? When she said that, I felt love. And both of us let down whatever it was in us. I went outside, got her a book and autographed it. When I came back, I said, may I give you a hug? And she says, yes, I've been expecting one. And as I'm leaving, I say, namaste. And she says, namaste, you know namaste. I said, well, of course, I see you. And she says, I see you. Same as with meat eaters. They judge us, we feel it because we're judging ourselves, and we in turn judge them. The judgment comes from the mind. And as vegans, we have to learn that we're already compassionate about every being on the planet. We have to learn to be compassionate with ourselves, not judging ourselves, and not judging humans as well, the meat eaters. Okay? Because if we truly want the planet that we want, as Rob stated on his post today, take another step. You can be vegan, you're feeding your body the foods that make the body strong, you're feeding your body the foods that develop consciousness. Take it a step further. Love thy neighbor as you love thyself. Because we can't change everyone. We can only change ourselves. So we've spoken about spirit, a little bit about mind, and Sam will speak more about the mind of having positive thoughts. And then we're going to speak about the body, because this talk is about tapping into being vegan, and it has a double meaning. You're going to learn tapping today, and then you're going to tap into the compassion that you already have, and you're going to expand it out to the world. Because that's why we're here. We're human beings. We're here to love. We know we love animals, but we have to love our neighbor. We have to love the person sitting at the table next to us. We have to learn to love the person that eats the beautiful animals that we love, because they know not what they do. Not yet. Son, you have some more about the mind.
Well, in my studies, I found that our body actually follows our mind. So if we tend to be sad and we're in a lonely place, we tend to grab the sugary foods. Sugary foods are comfort foods, right? We grab for that because our mind is sad. If we have a fight with our partner, guess what? Our stomach has a knot in it. We stop digesting altogether. And until everything is fine again, our body will relax only after everything is fine again, and that's when we can eat again. So our body very much follows our mind. So if you're aware of that, then it becomes very important to be kind to yourself, to be kind to your body, spiritually, mentally, physically.
And you mentioned that our mind, our body follows our mind. So if we're thinking low vibrational thoughts, low energy thoughts, guilt about being vegan, shame about being vegan, or anything else in our life, it's not just vegan, it's just one small aspect of us, okay? But if you're feeling guilt and shame, those low vibrational energies, we are, on average 70% water?
Correct.
And that affects us, those thoughts. And I think you know more about that.
I do, because there is studies being done about water, because we are 70, on average 70% water. There was a study done by Dr. Masaru Emoto, and he wrote a book called The Secret Life of Water. I don't know if any of you, yeah? And what he did, and I've got some of his pictures here, what he did an experiment with water. Where he, in fact, I'll pass that around and you can have a look at that. Because this is so important. Because all he did, he had bottles of water and he wrote a negative word on a label, stuck it on the bottle and froze it in. That's all he did. On the positive side, he would write positive words like I love you, thank you, you're beautiful, and he too froze that in. What he wanted to see is how the water would change its constitution, right? Because we know of snowflakes, we know that frozen water has that starry-like quality about it. And what he found is that on the negative side, the water, when he looked under the microscope, was very, very different. In fact, it didn't look starry at all. It had changed color, as you'll see in the pictures. It almost looked like a sponge. Sponge? How do you say it in America? Sponge, yeah? In fact, when I studied his pictures, I found that the negative side, those sponge-like cellular structures, look like our cancer cells. As a nutritionist, I've seen many cancer cells, and I thought the correlation between the two was amazing. The positive side, the ones with the cloud words on it, they were the ones that looked absolutely beautiful. That's what we expected, right? So you might say, well, these are bottles of waters. What's that got to do with us, right? Well, we are the bottles of water, but we are almost 70% water. So let's look at the negativity you have in your life each day. Are you happy at work? Do you get supported at home? Are your girlfriends gossipy? Are you happy inside? That is really, really important. But let's take it one step further. What about the food that we eat? Our vegetables, fruit and vegetables. They are nearly 90% or even more in some cases. What is their water structure like? Well, I can tell you, the ones that you buy at the supermarket, the ones that grow in depleted soils, being chemically sprayed, genetically modified, and they're not handled with care, how do you think the water is inside those fruit and vegetables? It's at a low level. Compared to the fruit and vegetables we buy at our farmer's market, our organic fruit and vegetables, they are grown in soils that are rich of minerals. They're not sprayed with any chemicals, and they are handled with care. Because everyone in the organic industry has to have some kind of love for the product they are selling, right? Because we know that the organic food doesn't look like the stuff you buy at the supermarket. You know, this is chemically treated, Frankenstein, genetically modified stuff, right? But let's take it one step further. And you can think about it if you talk to your vegan, to animal-eating people. I mean, we're vegan, but this is really important for meat eaters. What about the animals that they eat? They are also almost 70% water. Now, I don't need to go into the graphics of how horrible these animals are being treated, right? But they are full of suffering. How is their water content of those animals? Right? It's at a very low level. And your friends might say, oh, it's okay because I eat organically grown animals, right? Range-free, whatever they call it. Then you can tell them, did you know they go to the same abattoir? There is no such thing as humanely killed happy animal killing place. There is no such thing. As soon as adrenaline comes into our body, it turns acidic. It turns like those negative pictures. And it's really important for us to know that and to remember that the highest level of food are our organically grown fruit and vegetables. If you want to go one step higher, grow some food yourself. Grow some lettuces or herbs yourself. And I'm going to ask you, bring some children into this picture. Grow it with some children because they are our future. And I'm going to ask you, when you've grown these lettuce, eat some of it in front of your child. You know why? Because you are teaching them that this is real food. In fact, eat the ones that look the least healthiest. Eat the one with a hole in it. You know why? Because you're teaching your child that it's okay to eat a lettuce that's got a hole in it. I mean, how hard is it to eat a hole, right? But it's mindset. Throw out your old thinking habits and put in the new.
Your own story.
Throw out your old story.
Yes.
Create a new one.
And on the same token as body, we talked about spirit, mind. Sandra touched on body and the food for the body. The body is extremely important. The mind will lie to you. The mind will tell you something that's not the truth, that's not is. And we listen to it. Actually, our mind tells us if we're good or bad, if we're sad or happy, talks ugly to us, and we listen. Oh, you're no good. I know I'm no good, right? That's the mind. And then our mouths. Okay, our mind could be saying something and then our mouths also lie. Not truth tellers. The body is the truth teller. The body will tell you the truth every single time. When the body's tired, you're supposed to go to sleep, but we don't do that. When the body's hungry, it needs something. It tells us. A lot of us don't do that. We have this rat race. So we don't spend time eating, we go here and go there and pick up stuff, right? The body tells you when there's someone behind you that's not really aligned with your energy because the hair sticks up on the back of your neck. The body tells you that. The body tells you when you're sad, when you have a broken heart, you feel it, okay? I remember being a young kid and with my girlfriends and at school, and this guy comes up when I used to date guys, and my friends would tease me and like, oh, you like him? And I say, no, I don't. Oh, but I felt it right here. Oh, he's the love of my life, right? But the mouth was lying, but the body tells the truth, okay? And that's why lawyers look at people when they're talking and look for different tales, right? I'm an attorney. That's what I do. That's what I did. I don't practice law anymore, but I can always tell when someone's lying because something with a twitch, or they scratch, or they're touching their leg or knee, because the body does not lie. When the body tells you something, listen, because if you do not listen, it will stop telling you. Okay, it nudges you slightly with a headache, or with a cramp, or a stomach ache. And then when you don't listen, it becomes something else more serious. A heart attack, cancer, because we ignore these things. But if you're in tune to your body, you're in tune to when your mind is lying to you and something it's saying is not real, and you can ask yourself those questions. When you're feeling fear or angst, worry or sadness, stop for a moment and ask yourself, okay, is this absolutely true, what my mind is saying? Is it absolutely true? And if the answer is no, then you know it's a lie. And then go a step further, which people don't like to do because no one wants to know who they are in this world, right? We have all these things to distract us. We don't want to know who we are. Go a step further when you ask, is this true? Then ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? Where is this feeling coming from? Because if it's worry, if it's sadness, if it's anger, if it's judgment, if it's frustration, if it's confusion, it's coming from fear. Fear that I have something and I may lose it, or there's something feared, there's something that I need that I may not get. And all the world's ills come from fear. You either have fear or you have love. Think about it. Some of you may be fearful right now because I may be saying something that's not comfortable for you. You've never heard it, or it's the truth and you don't want to hear it. So you can ask yourself as you're sitting there, if I'm feeling some angst, why am I feeling this angst? No, thank you. Love it, love it, love it. So that's the mind, the body. We have the spirit, we have the mind, and we have the body, and we need to listen to that. So are we going to do a?
No, I'm going to take it one step further.
Take one step further, then we're going to do our roll.
Well, real quick, because
Go.
Okay. Because guys, simple things like arthritis, right? Asthma, allergies, all those sicknesses that we go to doctors for, we get a pill for, they are all because we eat the wrong foods. They're all because of the toxins that we've eaten. And it's very, very simple. If you've got arthritis, it simply means that the nerve endings in your fingers or your elbows and knees are infected. But certain foods do that to your body. We do not have to have arthritis. Asthma is 100% too much toxins in our body. That is an overload, and our body can't cope with it. It is caused by mainly dairy, but it's also caused by the wrong foods. Allergies, it's an irritation, right? So we have two kinds of foods. We have acidic foods and we have alkaline foods. And I want you to remember alkaline foods and Google it. Google alkaline foods and the whole world will open up to you. I've got a chart here of many of our foods, and the green is your alkaline foods, right? The orangey bit is our neutral foods, and the red is our acidic foods. Now, unfortunately, in today's society, 95% of all foods that's right there is in this category. Foods that belong here are our grains, our dark meats, our nuts, our seeds, our legumes, our fruit. They are our kind, easy to digest foods. And we need to eat way more raw. We need to eat raw at least 60% of our food. Yeah? Okay. There's many laws that come with this, but that's what I'm saying. Google it. Google alkaline foods, because they are the foods that will keep you young. Like, I'm in my 50s. I can do cartwheels. I am like a spring chicken. Why? Because I eat mainly these foods.
And the foods that are in the green, the alkaline foods, have a higher vibration.
Absolutely. These are very dense food. These are your animal proteins, your canned food, your bread, your pasta. Think about pasta for a minute. We all love pasta, but it's glue. What is glue made out of? Flour and water. You're eating a bowl of glue. Serious, if you think about it. So if I go, because I love my pasta, have a little bit. You've seen me eat my pasta. It's like this much.
But you eat black bean.
I've changed to that right now. You have black bean noodles. But have a lot of greens with it, because it's the greens that will neutralize it, that will help your body. Right? So that's all I wanted to say about that.
Yes. So we're going to do a little role play, because based on our experiences being vegan and the questions that we get, I want to say two things before we do our role play. Number one, we are not offering, as an attorney, we are not offering medical advice. We don't give diagnosis or anything like that. And the other thing I want to say is that when people question us about our life, it kind of upsets us a little bit. Like they're questioning whether or not we know what we're doing, whether or not we're doing the right thing. You know, we have enough wisdom to make our own decisions. And personally, when people question me about my lifestyle, being vegan or being a lesbian or whatever else, I realize I have a choice. I can sit there and try to have a civil conversation with them, or I can tell them thank you and walk off. We don't have to defend who we are, because being defensive is ego. And we're trying to move away from ego. Okay? If you have to defend something, it must not be true. Because truth doesn't need defending. You can't attack truth. Okay? If you pay attention to the politics, people are always defending. A politician is always defending something that they've said or something that they've done. Why do they have to defend it? We don't have to defend. So you have an option. But San and I have come up with a role play to give you some options if you want to have a conversation with people, if that's what you choose to do.
Yeah, because it's important to be really strong inside and to know your answers as vegans, because you are going to get questioned. And it's the same question over and over again. So you recognize this, I'm sure. Move back with me. I have that picture here.
Okay.
All I see is this bit.
Well, it's okay.
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 All right. Hey Tiffany, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, San. How are you?
Doing so great. How about us bumping into the street?
I haven't seen you in such a long time. Last time I saw you, you were kind of like going through a phase. Like you were kind of doing that weird thing. You were vegan
phase?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, vegan phase.
Well, it isn't a phase anymore, or it ever was. It's a lifestyle. And I choose plant-bound. So yes, I'm still vegan.
Okay, well, I guess it's working for you. I don't know. You look kind of weak. You know, the meat eaters are strong, and you look kind of weak. Where do you get your strength? Where do you get your protein and your calcium and your B12 from?
All right. Well, first of all, protein is in everything, right? It is in our greens, in our legumes, our leaves. So have you ever seen a protein deficient person? No, you haven't, because they don't exist, right? Our calcium, well, where do you think the cow gets her calcium from?
No, cows eat grass. I don't know.
That's right, it is in the greens of our food. Calcium is also in just about everything. Did you know that a glass of lemon juice has more calcium in it than a glass of milk? Right? And as far as me looking scrawny, girl, you know, vegans are very strong. And vegan animals are the strongest animals in our world. You think about it, horses, oxes, you're strong as an ox, elephants, they are all vegan. Gorillas are also vegan.
Well, they eat ants sometimes.
Oh, right.
So.
Okay, the ants vegan, right. They come across ants every now and then, but ants, they don't rely on ants to have them built the way they are built, right? It's a delicacy.
Okay, well, you haven't gotten me with that argument. What about our teeth? We have these teeth for a reason. That's to tear into that meat.
All right, so the last time you had an animal, you chased it, you grabbed it, and you tore it with your teeth?
No.
No. You had a knife and fork to cut that for you.
Oh, okay. So,
Right? And teeth, think about the gorilla again. Their teeth are huge. Right? And he's vegan.
Okay. Well, you know, I'm still not there yet, you know, because we've been eating meat since the caveman days. It's part of our culture, okay? That's what we do. Animals are less than us. They're not even that smart.
Right. So you're saying because back in the caveman days we killed, that's why we should still do it? We also killed women and children, and we had slavery, trying to better people. Why are we hanging on to the animal eating? Because we did that in the caveman days. And as far as intelligence goes, right? Are you saying that because a being is what we consider less intelligent than us, that it's okay to kill and eat it? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. I guess. Yeah.
I guess?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something, Tiffany. My son is mentally disabled. He has very little intelligence, right? So is it okay to eat my disabled son because he is intelligent? It's about 40 IQ?
No.
So it is taught. You are taught to see differences between animals. And animals are smart. They are intelligent. Right? And it's just different. It's just in a different way.
Well, I'm moving closer.
All right.
Moving closer. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I haven't seen you in a long time. You're looking good. I don't know if you're into girls. I would like to take you out, you know. What do you think about that?
All right, let me just stop you right there. Tiffany, as beautiful as you are, because you're an animal eater. And guess what? You eat something dead, you eat a carcass, you're going to smell like one. There is no way in hell that I'm going to be with someone that smells like death. Because us vegans, we're clean. We eat live foods, we smell and taste great. You guys eat death, you're going to smell and taste like death. I ain't going to go there.
Okay. All right. Thank you, son.
That's right.
All right.
Tiff, you know what you are?
What am I?
You are a VIP, a vegan in progress.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you, guys. So, how do we get through these challenges? Not only as being vegan and dealing with people and their judgments and our own judgments, but everyday life. I wanted to give you a skill or leave you with a skill that you can use in everyday life. If you're feeling sad or angry or fear, or someone at work pissed you off, or someone in the car cut in front of you and pissed you off, That's because when you let go of the baggage, you're able to rise up. And as I stated from the very beginning, vegan, by being vegan, you're already at a high level of consciousness because you have compassion, but we need to go further. We need to go higher. And if you know what I'm talking about levels, vibration, please read Dr. Hawkins' book, Force versus Power, Power versus Force. He talks about the different frequencies of fear and guilt. Okay? Hitler, down here. We need to be up here. Yeah, Gandhi, up there. So the tool that I want to teach you is called tapping. It comes from meridian tapping. It's also known in America, widely known as EFT, Emotional Freedom Techniques. Tapping. I just simply call it tapping. Gary Craig came up with the EFT. But you have many different EFT practitioners. So EFT or tapping is Chinese acupressure. So it's acupuncture minus the needles. You use your fingertips, okay? And you're going to tap on pressure points, or in the Chinese medical system, they call them meridian lines. We have meridian lines, hundreds of them, located on either side of our body. And at the end of the meridian line is what's called an endpoint, which is on the surface of your body. You have a spot where you can manipulate the energy in your body. Everything is energy. Your energy, the food that they ate tonight is energy. The water that you drink is energy. The trees, the ocean, everything has energy. Okay? And my job for me is I want my energy to be as high as possible. So I tap all the time. So as you're tapping Chinese acupressure, you also do what's called emotional therapy. You are tapping, and as you're tapping, you're stating the truth about what you feel. If you want the science on tapping, you can go to emofree.net, you can go to eftuniverse.com. They have all the science on there, and the science will tell you that it works quickly, and it works for virtually anything. Money's energy. If you're having some blocks regarding money in your life, okay, you're either repelling it or you're attracting it to you. Go to what your feelings are about money, your beliefs. We all have core beliefs about money, which we learn as a child from our parents and society. Okay, rich people are greedy. Well, if that's one of your core beliefs, you're going to have some difficulty attracting more money. So I use it for everything. It halts the fight or flight response because we feel it every moment. All that angst in our body from little bitty things, all that angst we feel that we don't process creates blocks in our body, creates dis-ease. Right? Doctors now say that 85 to 90% of our physical ailments are caused by emotional stress. We're not dealing with our emotions. We're not taught to deal with our emotions. Okay, we're just now getting people out there who are courageous enough to say, deal with your emotions. As women, as a lawyer, I couldn't go up in court crying, right? Because no one would want to hire me. Everybody would think I'm a sap, okay? We have to still deal with our emotions. Men are not taught to deal with their emotions. They're taught to stuff them. But when we stuff those things, it makes us sick. Just think about it. It makes us sick. Overeating, people just don't eat because they're not overweight, just because they're eating all these bad foods. It's emotional. It's emotional. I would go sneak in my own house at night with the lights out and go into the kitchen and get some dark organic chocolate. I thought it was healthy, it's organic. And then one time I stopped and I said, Tiffany, why do you keep going to get the chocolate at night? That's because when I was sleeping, I would have anxiety attacks. And once when I had the anxiety attack, instead of going to the chocolate, I stopped and I felt it. I'm like, why are we having this anxiety? I was afraid. Okay, I was representing someone who would blame the lawyer if they didn't get off. So I was eating out of a fear. So stop and ask yourself that. Different things that are happening. Why am I doing this? And you can use tapping to help yourself. So I'm going to teach you some tapping. And what I've been trained to do is before you tap, you have to rate your level of intensity of how you feel about something. If you're feeling angry, you rate that level. If you're feeling sad, you rate that level. Okay? Depression grows from not processing your sadness. Rage grows from not processing your anger. We're taught not to be angry. Oh, don't be angry. No one wants to be an angry person. No, you have to deal with your anger. You can deal with these emotions in a positive way. Scream, go running, something, okay? But deal with it. We don't deal with it, and what have we created in the world? So we're going to tap, and you can, when you go home, if you want to do this, right now you can rate your level of whatever from 0 to 10. I like to, before I tap, I like to say, okay, Tiffany, how do I feel? Okay, I have this situation, how do I feel about it? My body feels kind of all tight. And after I tap, I say, okay, Tiffany, how does your body feel now? Much better. That's how I know it works. So you do what works for you. Okay, I'm only teaching you a way. Okay, may not be your way, it's just a way. So the first point is called the karate chop point. I use my index finger and I put it at the end of my pinky, my thumb at the top of my wrist. I go to the center. That soft, fleshy spot right there is called the karate chop point. That's because you can go down like this. So the karate chop point, we're going to tap there and we're going to say what's called a setup statement 3 times. The setup statement begins even though, and we're going to tap on even though sometimes I feel I have to justify who I am, justify being vegan. I choose to let that go. Okay, so that's going to be our setup statement. After we do the karate chop point, we go to the eyebrow point. Where the nose ridge is on either side, where the eyebrow begins, is the eyebrow point. You can tap on one side or you can tap on both. The next point is called the side of the eye. You follow your eyebrows all the way down. Some people know it as the temple, because when you get stressed or headache, what do? You put pressure there, okay? We instinctively know this stuff. So you tap right there where that bone is. It's called the side of the eye. You can tap one side, you can tap both, it doesn't matter. You get the same benefit. The next point is called under the eye. Underneath your pupil, right there, you can tap lightly because it's very sensitive. You can tap one or you can tap them both. The next point is called under the nose, which is not directly under the nose. It's at the top of the lip on that crevice. You tap there. The next point is called the chin point, which is not on the chin. It's in between the chin and your bottom lip, so in that depression. The next point is called the collarbone point, where your collarbone begins. Go down an inch, either side an inch. You can tap on one side, you can tap on both. When I teach tapping the seniors, they just do it like this. The next point is called under the arm. For a man, it's 4 inches under the armpit. For a woman, it's in the center of your bra. Okay, and then the last point, we end on the top of the head. If you have a baby, you know this. You tell people, don't do this. Don't touch them in the soft spot. There's a reason why. It's the top of the head right there. That's where you get your messages from your guides or angels, if you believe in that, from spirit, if you believe in that. Okay, so you end with the top of the head. That's one round of tapping. If you do a continuous round, which you will do, you don't have to come back to the karate chop point. All these points are connected to an organ in your body. So tapping reduces or relieves emotional and physical pain. They use it in the military in Fort Hood for PTSD. They used it in Nick Ortner, who, if you've read The Tapping Solution, he lives in Connecticut. He taught kids after the shooting so they could go back to school. He even took it to Rwanda to help with the genocide victims. They use it in Los Angeles in the school system to help kids test better. Okay? So it can be used for anything. So I'm going to lead the tapping after, and I'd like you guys to repeat after me. But I want you to think about something. We're going to tap on something specific, but you can think about anything as you're repeating what I say, and it's going to work out those blockages for that particular issue. And let me warn you, when you start tapping, something else may come up. I had a client, she would go to buffets and she wanted to tap on her overeating at the buffets. But after we started tapping, it came up. She remembered that she was sexually molested at age 7. Okay? Anything may come up. So I warn you, if something comes up, you need to tap on that when you get to some place where you feel safe to tap on that. Even if you think tapping is not going to work for you and you don't want to do it, you can tap on that. Even though I don't think tapping is going to work for me and I really want to do it, I'm going to sit here and do it anyway. There's something called argumentative tapping. Even though I shouldn't eat this chocolate, I'm going to eat it anyway. Okay? You can do it any way you want. The words are not important. What's important is that you're honest in your communication with yourself. Okay? The science shows that it's better than counseling and therapy. So just repeat after me. Even though I feel that I have to justify who I am, justify what I eat, I choose to let that go. Even though I feel that I have to justify being vegan, justify being who I am, I choose now to let that go. Even though I feel that I have to justify everything about my life to people, justify loving animals, justify anything that I do, I choose right now. I've decided right now to let that go. I decided to change my story. I don't have to justify who I am. I am who I am. I'm vegan. I'm a kind person. I'm a loving person. Sometimes I feel I have to justify who I am. But I don't. I don't have to justify who I am. I don't have to defend who I am. I'm great. I have a loving heart. I'm a loving person. I love animals. There's nothing wrong with that. I love myself. And there's nothing wrong with that. I like who I am. I'm a loving person. I've come here to love. And that's exactly what I'm doing. So I don't have to justify myself. I'm just letting it go. I'm loving who I am. I'm being who I am. And that's pretty great. Take a deep breath. You should always drink water after you tap because you've moved energy and the toxins are moving around, and that's to flush them out. Okay? San and I want to thank you. The talk was Tap into Being Vegan, and as I told you earlier, that involves spirit, compassion, which you already have. And go a step further, loving yourselves more, because when you love yourself, you're loving others. We talked about the mind and relieving and getting rid of those judgments and those negative thoughts and anger and fear. We've talked about the body, how it's a communicator, and how we feed and nourish the body with live foods because we are alive. Okay? So you have just tapped into being vegan.
Yeah, and if there's anything that we've said tonight that resonates with you, we've written, what's up with pregnancy? That's that one. So because everything also the tapping is in that book, so that you will remember how to use that tool. It's also nutritional based because I am a nutritionist. I've been doing nutrition for 30 years. And that's her tapping book. That's just a
tap that.
Tap that.
It's not about sex, but you can use it. I have used it before, to help me out.
All right. Don't take it. So Why Become Vegan, and our t-shirts is based on that. And we do have more t-shirts. We are selling our t-shirts. So Why Become Vegan, it's not just about nutritional reasons, right? It's also about environmental reasons. We all know that the meat and dairy industry produces so much more pollution than anything else on our planet. Even all our transport, like our planes, our trucks, our cars, trains and buses, if you put all that pollution together, it's still less than the pollution that the meat and dairy industry produces. So I write about that. I write about the ethical side and the spiritual side, but mostly it is nutrition and also the alkalinity and acidic diet. Now the chart that I showed you before, that I'm also selling that because it's an amazing chart to have in your kitchen and just to have a look at. Now, and so my last book is a children's book. It is based on veganism. It's about a family from Australia that goes to India, and in India they worship the cow. So it makes the family think because they obviously eat cows, and in India they worship them. So it's a gorgeous little book. If you feel that you want to purchase anything, we are here, going to be here for another 10 minutes or so, so be free to do that. And if you don't want to, buy anything, here's a jar because we have come a long way. And we are going to open up the room to any questions that you may have regarding anything. Any questions?
A question, since you brought up that you have experience as a lawyer, not from personal experience, just these are first stories of this happening before. Parents who are oftentimes sought out by my child services because they're trying to have a vegan lifestyle with a very young child. What do you think about that? Or what can you do about that?
Well, obviously I agree that that's horrible. In the area where I practiced, I moved here from Bell County, and I was known as the weird lawyer, the lawyer that didn't eat the meat, and the lawyer that wore her mala beads to the courtroom and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's draconian, it's archaic. It's not abuse when the court or the legal system is going after a parent. They're looking for abuse or neglect. So they have to prove one or the other.
It's not necessarily exact, just because you're abused.
Exactly. Any other questions? All right. Yes?
Do you have a video, like on YouTube or anything?
I do. We both have YouTube channels. I have a video that's titled "What the Hell is Tapping," and it goes through everything. And San has plenty of videos.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you Google our name, all the YouTube videos will come up, and all my talks on YouTube, not all of them, a lot of them. And so you can definitely hear it all again. Great.
Yes, yes. I gave a talk, the tap into your spiritual orgasm. That was a very good one. So I would do that one.
I wasn't there.
Thank you all for coming.
Tell us about your next, you're going to be at Nature's Treasures, I think?
Yes.
You'll be doing San
Yes.
Antonio.
Thank you. Yes.
Tell us about your next stop.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. We're going to Friday at 7. We're going to be at Nature's Treasures in the event studio, giving a talk on transformation. And then Saturday we're going to be in Dallas at the Dallas Yoga Center, talking about forgiveness. We're going to talk on forgiveness. And then we're going to be in San Antonio at the Unlimited Thought Life Enrichment Center, which is on the 24th. And then the 29th, we're talking to the San Antonio Vegetarian and Vegan Association.
Yeah. So we are around. Yes, ma'am.
On that topic, I was wondering, I'm assuming that a lot of people here are probably vegan already.
Correct.
And agreeing to the flyer, we probably all kind of heard this before, but I think it's not to support the culture for you guys. But are you guys trying to get this out to the general public? I noticed that you're like a vegan and vegetarian, groups and stuff like that.
Oh.
But I'm like, do you venture out to,
Oh, yes, yes.
This is
started off in Temple last week, and no, there may be some vegans in
It seems like it could be
Temple.
pretty, like, I saw some people leave and they looked really pissed off.
Yeah.
And you guys were talking about, you know, like, I don't want to have sex with you because you was me,
Yeah.
right? Which, like, that's how I feel too. So, like, I totally get it. But
There is
in the real world out here, with all the people, with the majority of people feel that way, do you feel like you get aggression or hostility?
well, that's why we sing right at the start of our talks, because that's when all of those feelings come up. Because that being pissed off has nothing to
To do with
us.
us.
Right?
Has to do with their own judgment.
So
So,
you just kind of like,
oh yeah, we're free.
We're free, exactly.
And
I
other
would
things
get
that
really
come,
like frustrated and angry and not be able to, because like this is my daily life and that's why I came here also, because I
Yes.
also, you know, I've done EMDR and which is very similar to EFT and I've
Yes.
learned about EFT but I've never actually practiced it because I was kind of lazy about it. You
Yeah.
know, too many things or whatever excuses. And I just lost my train of thought.
No worries.
that's okay.
But to answer your question, we are our talk in Temple, our talk Friday in Austin, our talk on the 24th in San Antonio are just general public talks, because I'm a spiritual teacher and healer, so my message is not only veganism, I happen to be a vegan, but my message is also of love. That's why I've come here to share love with the world, spirit, mind, body, love, compassion. So I know that everyone is not going to agree with what I have to say, but I'm at the point in my life now, I don't care. And if they criticize me, then that means they're out of jobs.
Do anything like that?
Oh, no.
Some pretty hostile.
No.
You know,
We can't be harmed. We're spiritual beings.
Look, and maybe a nutritionist, my talks are all about nutrition, all of it, you know. So we really did this because of the vegan aspect of today. And, you know, there is truth about the way we do smell, because you go to places like Bali and you have all the priests around, they can tell exactly who is an animal eater and who's not, right? As a vegan, you don't want to have a partner, or you want to enlighten your partner as much as possible. So there is truth in every joke. Yeah, and it's if they go to us, they
I don't
let us
think
know.
it's a joke. I mean, I find it very frustrating to find partners because
Right. So,
a number of things, but mainly that. Like,
and we need to
I
be
understand.
I'm
comfortable.
not trying to judge, but like,
Yeah.
I just don't want to get down on that.
Well,
Oh, I know what you're talking about, girl. Okay? She's trying to calm me down. She knows I get excited.
so, you know, we have to be comfortable. And I cannot be comfortable with a meat eater because they have that disconnection. What about killing? Don't they get? Right? I'm not going to give my heart to someone who's going to eat what I love. Right?
We just have to be courageous. We were at an event, and that subject came up with meat eaters. It was a lesbian group, you know, and that subject came up, and I just flat out said, no, I'm not. You eat meat, it's not going to happen. And she just went off.
Yeah,
Like it
because
stinks down there.
They're not meat eaters. People are animal eaters. Learn to use that language, because meat, that's a texture. Mushrooms, right? That's meaty. People are animal eaters. If you learn to use different language, and people will take note. I'm not an animal eater. I love animals. Well, they are comfortable with calling it a meat eater. And I was calling them animal eaters, and
Yeah.
people get more pissed off with me than
Yeah, and remind him that I was talking to Son about meat eaters dress meat up, right? They season it, they cook it, they put sauce on it to dress, so much work to dress up, like we dress up, think about it, like we dress up a corpse, right? I personally don't like going to funerals because I'm like, you got some makeup on.
And all that stuff.
Which is not necessary if we clean food,
Yes.
right? You need to clean, you smell clean. Simple as that.
Simple as that. Yeah. Thank you, Alexis, right? Thank you for your question. Yeah.
Thank you so much tonight, guys. We really